Hello all, my name is Cynthia and I am a Senior Technical Support Analyst working with BMC Client Management product. In this webinar, we will discuss the specifics concerning the installation and upgrade processes of BMC Client Management. So the agenda for today's webinar is outlined as follows. Firstly, I'll provide a quick overview of the BMC Client Management product. Next, we'll cover the system requirements and conduct a demonstration of the installation process of BMC Client Management on Linux and Windows Server. Afterwards, we'll dwell into preparing the server for an upgrade and provide a demo for the same. And towards the conclusion of the webinar, we'll explore troubleshooting scenarios and share references. BMC Client Management is an advanced endpoint management tool that provides features like asset discovery, to collect inventory for all the devices in your environment, including Windows, Mac, Linux, and even network devices. With device management feature, you could install agents on different devices and perform advanced tasks on them. OS and application deployment feature will help you deploy the operating system and software to your endpoints. While software license management will ensure your licenses are being used as intended, the compliance management feature will make sure your endpoints are compliant with your policies. And finally, with patch management feature, you could efficiently deploy patches throughout your environment. The installation of BMC Client Management is limited to server operating system. It is compatible with Oracle and SQL database as backend options, and PostgreSQL is supported specifically for Linux boxes. Additionally, BMC Client Management Setup provides the option to install MS SQL Express on the master server for Windows servers only. However, that is possible if there is no other database engine that is already running within the network. This is a snippet of the supporting operating system and databases. However, we strongly recommend to refer to our documentation page for detailed information of hardware and software requirement for the master server installation and upgrade process. It is essential to follow a structured path to ensure a smooth and problem-free upgrade. For versions 12.8 or earlier, you could transition to a subsequent version such as 12.9, 20.8, or 21.02 before proceeding to upgrade to the latest version, which is 22.04. Additionally, the installation or the upgrade script will check if the OS and the current BCM version is supported by the 22.4 version. Hence, upgrading to the latest version from an unsupported version or an unsupported operating system is no longer possible. On saying that, I would like to shift your focus to one of the most important changes that has happened within BMC Client Management. The contract between our software catalog and BMC Client Management has ended. Hence, BMC Client Management now serves as the source of the software catalog knowledge base. With this change, only the update installer for version 12.9 until 22.4.03 is made available to download on the EBT website. Additionally, BCM has also made two versions of 22.4 patches available. 22.4.03 patch is for existing clients that have prior versions of BCM installed on them, while 22.4.30 patch is for new clients and only a setup installer is available for the same. If setup installer is required for a version prior to 22.4.30, then we would request you to contact our support team. In the upcoming demo, we will be installing a separate instance of Oracle database on a Windows server and BCM master on the Linux server respectively. After successfully completing these tasks, we will establish a connection between the two. Following that, we'll launch the BCM console to confirm the connection success. So let's get started. Let me take you through the steps in detail. In the upcoming video, we will be installing the Oracle Database 19C on Windows 2019 server. The procedure will commence with the installation of the software, followed by setting up the database using the Database Configuration Assistance. Subsequently, we'll establish the network service using the Net Configuration Assistance. And throughout this process, we'll retrieve the detail from the tns name.ora file that gets generated in the Oracle home directory. Once completed, we will execute the script to create the BMC Client Management table space and the user to connect to it. And finally, we'll install the SQL developer to connect to the database and obtain a GUI view. So let's get started. So I have downloaded the Oracle 19c installer from the Oracle website, and it requires you to log into their website and then it will let you download their package. The SQL developer, however, is readily available on the internet, so you don't need to log into their website and download it directly. And I have also downloaded the BCM master setup for the Linux server, as we will be running the script to create the BMC client management table spaces through it. And this is the same setup that we will be running on our Linux server as well. Now, before you proceed with the installation, there are a few prerequisites that you need to take care of. We'll go ahead and create a Windows standard user that does not have the administrative privileges. This is the same user that will become the installation owner. Again, I'm not going to go ahead and create this within Windows Server, but during the installation of the Oracle database, it does give you an option to create this standard user. So I'm going to go ahead with that option. Next, I have created the Oracle base, setup, and BCMDB folders, and these are the path for all three. The Oracle base folder will store the Oracle software configuration related files that are installed by the installation owner, that is this owner. To the setup folder, we will be extracting the Oracle 19c setup and we will be initiating the installation through this folder itself. The BCMDB folder will come in use when you're trying to run the script to create the database table space. So the procedure is as follows. We'll initiate the installation by installing the software, followed by installing the database using the database configuration assistance. We will then create the network service with the help of the network configuration assistance. Again, while we are creating or installing the network service, we will make use of the tnsnames.ora file that gets created while installing the database. The location for the tnsname.ora file is as follows. Once that is done, we'll run the script to create the BMC client management table space and the user to connect to it. And this is the location of the bat file that we are going to run and the command that we will be executing to create the table space. Post that, we will be running this command to set the Oracle SID. This command is going to help us connect to the database, and finally we will launch the SQL developer to get a GUI view and connect to the database. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the setup folder and launch the installer. This may take some time to initiate. We'll go ahead with the setup software only option. Click on next. Single instance database installation, enterprise edition, and here you will get an option to create the Windows user. So I click on create new Windows user and create a user. Click next. Now here I'm going to give the Oracle underscore base location. As mentioned earlier, this folder will store the Oracle software configuration related files installed by the owner. So it's performing some prerequisites and you click on install once that is done. So the installation of the software is completed. You click on close. I would also like to tell you that when you're initiating the installation, there is this command prompt that will pop up automatically, and it gives information of each steps that is being performed. So I'm going to click on close and initiate the process of installing the database now. To create the database, click on the Start menu. Under Oracle Database 19 Home folder, click on Database Configuration Assistance. Go ahead with the first option to create a database and click Next. Click on Advanced Configuration and Next. Here we are going to go ahead with the default settings. So the database type is Oracle Single Instance Database and the template name is General Purpose or Transaction Processing. Click Next. Here you specify the name of the database. So the global database name will be something like a fully qualified name and SID is a short to it. You may want to make a note of this because this information will be helpful while creating the network service. Again, this information will get fed in the dnsnames.ora file. I will show you the same once this process is completed. So just this option was checked. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this option where it says create a container database and click next. Here you're going to go ahead with the default option where it creates an Aura data folder and you click on next. Again, for specifying the fast recovery area, you're going to go ahead with the default location and click next. On this page, you'll get an option to create a listener. So give it a name. And the default port will be 1521. Click next. Do not check any option on this page. Just go ahead by clicking next. Now this page is important where you need to specify the memory, sizing, character set, connection mode and sample scheme. For memory and sizing information, I would request you to refer to our documentation page because depending upon the environment that you're planning to set up, you will then need to decide on the memory and the sizing of your environment and the setup. I'm going to go ahead with the default option as I have a limitation because I am installing this software on a virtual machine which has a limited memory and RAM. So it has picked the default setting, so I'm going to go ahead with that. Sizing, again, leave it to 300. Character set, here you need to set it to UTF-8. Connection mode will be dedicated server mode. And sample schema, leave it unchecked and click on next. Again, go ahead with the default option and click next. Here you need to specify the credential for the sys and system account. System account is a default account that could be used to connect to the database. So I'm going to go ahead and set the password for them. Similarly for system. And again, it is going to ask you to put in the password for the Windows user that you had created. So go ahead and give that as well and click on next. So when you reach this page, be sure to click on the all initialization parameters and check the show advanced parameters. There are some important parameters that have been defined by BMC Client Management that needs to be set on the Oracle database. I would request you to refer to our documentation page because these parameters are version specific. I have already made a note of it on my other screen. So these are the parameters and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set it. Let's filter this in a chronological order and it starts with file system IO option that needs to be set to set all. Let's look for that parameter. set all and check. Then comes the query rewrite enabled option, which needs to be set to false. Set it to false and check the option. Then comes cursor sharing, which needs to be forced. Commit sharing, it's called commit logging. Commit logging, set to batch and check it. Commit wait, set it to no wait. Few more parameters to go. Then comes open cursor, which is to be set to 800. This option is already checked. Session cached cursor, set it to 2000. And DLL lock timeout to 600. That's it. Click on close and next. Click on finish and it will start installing the database. So the installation of the database is complete. You click on close. So as mentioned earlier, the tns names.ora file will save all the information that was given during the database installation process. And this information will be required while creating the network service. So let's go ahead and create the network service. Click on start, go to the Aura database 19 homepage and launch the network configuration assistance. Click on local net service name configuration and next. Add. So pick the service name from the tns.ora file. Click on next. Next. Given the host name of the database server. Click next. Perform the test for connectivity given the username. This is the default user that connects to the database. Once it is successful, click on next. Here you need to mention a different name other than what it automatically populates, because this is already mentioned in the service name creation. So I'll just gonna go ahead and add _ns and click next. Would you like to configure another network service? Click on no, next and finish. Now we'll go ahead and run the script to create the BMC Client Management tablespace and the user to connect to it. In order to do that, go to the installer, the setup Linux installer, expand it, click on support, database, Oracle, and this is the bat file that we will run. When you open the readme file, it will share the path and the command that you need to run. So I've copied that already here. But let's make a note of it again and fill in the required details. Again, the net service name will be, you need to pick that from the tnsnames.ora. It is bcmdb. And tablespace path, the folder that we had created originally, the bcmdb folder, which is C Oracle bcmdb. So the path table and the temp folder and the index file, all three will be the same path. So paste it thrice. Again, the DB username and password, I'm going to leave it to system. And the password is, okay. Now you go to the path where you're going to run the script from. Click in the browser, type cmd, and you copy this command. and go ahead and paste it. Again, it has opened the command prompt as an administrator and taken you to the path from where you're going to run the batch file, and hit enter. It's creating the table spaces now. Okay, the process is now completed. When you go back to the BCM folder, you'll see the table spaces created. We will now run the set oracle underscore SID to BCMDB. This command is going to help us connect to the database. So let's go ahead and run it. Okay, that is done. Now let's go to the SQL developer. Again, you don't need to install it. All you need to do is just launch it. I'm going to launch it and see if I'm able to connect to the database. When you get the welcome page, it detects all the databases that you can connect to. We will be connecting to BCMDB. Click on this plus icon and create a new connection. It could be any name. You could give it any name. So I'm just going to name it as test1. The user will be system. Password. Leave the other setting as default. Localhost, because I'm running the SQL developer on the database server itself. Port being 1521 and the SID is BCMDB. In case you have forgotten where the SID or what the name will be, you can always refer to TNS name, and this is the SID. Okay, let's go back to SQL developer and test the connection. Once it comes successful, just connect it. Expand the connection. At times it takes some time to load the table. Now when you expand the table, you will see the default tables here. These are not the tables that gets populated when BCMDB is loaded. The actual information will get loaded only when the BCMDB master server is installed on Linux and a connection is established between the master and the database. This test was only performed to check if the system user is able to connect to the database. So let's go ahead and install Linux server now. Now that the installation of the Oracle database is complete, we will move forward with the installation of BCM master on the Linux server. The installation process will begin by installing the Oracle client, which facilitates the connection between the BCM application server and the database. We will then create the TNS names.ora entry with the help of the VI editor under the root folder. The TNS names.ora file gets created when the database is installed on the Windows server. And finally, we'll proceed by installing the BCM master server on the Linux environment. So let's get started. So before you start with the installation of the master server on the Linux box, you need to make sure that the Oracle client is installed on the Linux box. This client is going to help connect the application server to the database. Once that is done, you go to the root folder and create the tnsname.ora entry with the help of the VI editor. And you copy in the below mentioned details that has been picked from the tnsname.ora file from the database server. Now the purpose of creating this entry is to tell the Linux box the hostname of the database server and the port that it is going to connect on. Once this is done, you could then proceed by installing the BCM master on the Linux box. So with the help of the WinSCP, I have already copied the instant client to the TMP folder and the installer to root BMC folder. Okay, let's switch back to the TMP folder. I've logged into my Linux box as well as a root account, and this is the command to check if the instant client is already installed on the device. So let's paste that and check. It came up empty. That means that it does not have the instant client installed. Now let's go to the temp folder, ls. Okay. You always have to make sure that you run the Instant Client Basic before running the SQL package. At times it takes a little while to complete. Okay, that is done. Okay. Now if we run the previous command to validate if it is installed, it is going to give 2 entries. So there you go. Now let's run the VI editor. No, before that we have to go to the root folder. Okay. And insert this information. Colon WQ to save and exit. Okay. So this is done. Now you can proceed with the installation process of the master. Now this is done. Let's go to the location where the installer is copied, which is root ls, and you're going to unzip this folder. So the folder is unzipped. Let's go to the path to install the installer. We are now going to run a command to convert this .sh into an executable. So it is chmod plus x and BMC. Let's run the command to install the installer. Again, you need to hit on enter until you reach the 24th pointer. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once you reach the 24th point, slowly hit on enter. And you will get the license agreement terms. Here you have to type yes and hit enter. It is going to ask you, is this installation in SaaS environment, which will be no. It is going to pick the default location, hit enter, HTTP port 1610, enter, 1611 for communication, yes. Here you have to select the, the SSL communication will be set to default, which is 2. Certificate organization, just hit enter. Again, the BMC Client Management Agent service name will be the default. Hit enter again. Enter the host name for the BMC Client Management database, which is this. I've made a copy of everything. Now select the database engine you want to use. We are using Oracle. Else by default it will pick Postgres. Enter the TNS name for the BMC Client Management master, which is BCMDB. Enter. You need to manually update the table spaces before you can continue. Are they already updated? You have to type yes and hit enter. The installation directory of your Oracle client server. This is the path that it installs the client to. But let's just validate. Root users lib Oracle 21, yeah, and client 64. So I'll just copy this and paste it. Enter. Enter the TNS name, TNS admin Oracle environment variable value. We have it under the root folder. Enter the installation directory of the SQL bus. If installed, otherwise leave it empty. We are going to leave it empty. The NLS language in Oracle environment, we are going to take it as America UTF, paste it here and hit enter. The username that will connect to to the database is system in my case, and the password to connect to it. The language default, which is US, the password to connect to the admin user, again the default password, hit enter and continue clicking on yes. Do you want the agent to be started once the installation is completed? Yes. Click on enter and it has started the process of installation. Once the installation is complete, it will give you a summary of all the details that we have mentioned. We will now run this command to tell the TNS admin the location of tnsnames.ora file. We could now launch the console by typing in https:// the IP address or the host name of your master server :1610 and console. It's loaded this page for us and I'm going to download the web start. Okay. Okay, we were able to log into the BCM console and this is our master server. Also, you could get the database view now by creating a new connection. So let me show you that. System. Now when you expand, you'll see all the related tables to BCMDB. This validates that the installation of the database, that is the Oracle database, and the master server was successful and the connection between them has established successfully as well. In the upcoming demo, we will be installing BCM 21.02 on Windows Server. Post that, we will be preparing it for an upgrade. Then we'll enable the option to automatically update the client devices within its environment. Upgrade the server to BCM version 22.4.03. And finally, we will validate the upgrade by checking the version of the console, master, and the client devices. In the upcoming demo, I will be installing BCM 21.02.04 setup to a Windows device. After successful installation of the master server, we will log into BCM console and validate the installation. So I've already downloaded the 21.02.04 setup installer to my device and extracted it as well. Right-click on the setup and run it as an administrator. Click on Yes to select the language. Click Next. Accept the agreement and click Next. Here you'll get an option to install SQL Server Express, Master and Console. You'll be able to install SQL Server Express on the device or the master server only if there is no other database engine running within the environment. So I do not have any other database engine running on my server. So I've checked this option and we'll click on Next. Click Next to install. So now it is trying to install the SQL Server Express. It may take some time. So the BCM database installation is complete and it gives you an option to install the BCM master. So we click on Next. On this page, you get an option to import a license if you have one, or go ahead with the evaluation license. So I'm going to go ahead with it and click Next. I would want anyone who logs into the system to be able to log into my BCM console. So go with the first option. This is the default destination folder where the master will get installed. Click next. So these are the ports. Port 1610 for agent communication, 1611 for BCM console access. These are the default ports and SSL is set to yes. I'm going to leave this page empty and go ahead and click on next. In case you have any details to add into this page, you're welcome to do so. The database name is BCMDB, and the database table spaces will get created under the default allocation. Go ahead and click next. Go ahead and click next again. The default BCM agent service name is BMC Client Management Agent. I'm going to go ahead with the default. Start the service once the master server is installed. Set the password for the default administrator. Click next. Go ahead and click on the second option and click next. Here you'll get a summary of the information that you have selected, the installation directory, the ports, the SSL communication that is enabled, the database engine, the name of the database, and the instance to connect to it. Click on install to install the BCM master. So the installation is complete. Click on finish. And in the system tray, you will see a gray icon that is initialization. This is BMC Client Management Agent that would initialize. So the color of this icon has changed to blue. You could also validate by logging into the BCM console. So it is running the same installer version, that is 21.02. And yeah, you are able to log into the BCM console as well successfully. This validates that the installation got installed successfully to the Windows server. To prepare the BCM master for an upgrade, ensure the prerequisites are met. Backup the BCM database and master while the BCM service is stopped. If the OS deployment module is loaded on a different device, backup the installation directory or the data/OS deployment directory on that device. Perform cleanup of the upgrade and the one-off package, as well as the operational rule. This involves unassigning devices and device groups from the operational rule and deleting the corresponding packages from the master server. Lastly, clean up the objects from the lost and found folder. Let me take you through a quick demo sharing the same. So in order to perform or prepare a device for an upgrade, there are some prerequisites that we need to perform. It is recommended that you take a restorable backup of the master and the database server while the services stop. Another way will be to take a snapshot of the master and the database server so that it could be restored to a working stage in case something goes wrong during the upgrade. For the purpose of this demo, I will show you the manual way of backing up the master and the database server. So open the services console and stop the BCM service. Once the service is stopped, you can go to the installation path of the master server and back up the master folder. Then you log into the database server and click on the BCMDB database and go on task and take a full backup of the BCMDB database. So the backup of the database is complete. Click on OK. We will then start the service and log into the BCM console to perform the remaining tasks. Let's wait till the color of this icon changes to blue. Now that the icon color has changed to blue, we log into the BCM console. Once you log into the BCM console, click on Operational Rule module and go to Client Management Upgrade. Here, you need to expand all these operational rules to check if any device is assigned to it and unassign it because we are going to delete these operational rules. So there are no devices that are assigned to these operational rules. Select all and delete it. In older version, you will also see another folder with the name Client Management One-Off. You need to perform the same steps that we perform for Client Management Upgrade for that folder as well. Now let's go to the Packages folder and delete the corresponding packages. So under the Client Management Upgrade folder, we need to perform the same step. We'll expand the packages and see if any devices are assigned to them. So there are no devices assigned to them. Click on the Client Management Package folder, and in the right pane, select all and delete it. Now we go on to the package factory, and as my master server is loaded as a package factory, we could delete the packages from the upgrade folder as well. As mentioned earlier, for older version, you will see a client management one-off package folder as well, and it would populate under the custom packages too. So perform the same steps as we did for the client management upgrade packages. Now you could proceed to the global settings and lost and found folder and check if there are any clients or operational rules that are populating here. If yes, then you may want to get rid of them before you could proceed with an upgrade. As we do not see anything, we are good to proceed with the upgrade process. So we will start with the upgrade process of the master server. But before I do that, I would also like to enable an option to upgrade the devices while the once the master server has upgraded. So in order to do that, you log into BCM console, click on global settings, go to system variables, and under connection management, be sure to set the automatic agent version upgrade to yes. So now that we could proceed with the upgrade of the master server, I would also like to enable one setting in the BCM console to make sure that the clients would also upgrade after the master has done automatically. In order to do so, you log into BCM console, click on global settings, go to system variables, and in the right pane, click on connection management. Set this option to yes. Automatic agent version upgrade, set it to yes and OK. And log out from the BCM console. I have already downloaded the 22.4.03 upgrade package to my device and extracted it, and we will go ahead and run it. Click on OK. Accept the license agreement and click on next. On this page, you will get the information of the current version and the version that you will upgrade to. So click on next. Upgrade your agent installation after the server upgrade is finished. Leave the box as checked and click next. Check this option. It gives you a warning asking if you have taken a full backup of your database and the master server, and only then you could continue. We have already done that, so click next. Next again. Go ahead with the second option and click next and upgrade. So once the upgrade is complete, you will get this screen. You could click on finish and it will load the logs for you in case you would want to go through it. These are the upgrade logs. These are very helpful in case things fail or the upgrade fails. You get a better idea on which stage it has failed. So my upgrade was successful. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Information on the database upgrade is also successful. Close that. And we'll load the BCM console. But before that, we need to make sure that the icon color changes to blue. So the icon color has changed to blue. Let's log into the master server and download a fresh web start console. So when you first time log into the upgraded console, you will get this page where it will ask you to update or upgrade all the operational rules as well. So I'm going to select all the options and I would want to upgrade it to the current version. Okay, now we could click on the master server to validate if it has upgraded. So yes, it has. And also click on the device to check if it has updated to the latest version. Yes, it has. Now, in case you have lot of devices within the environment and you would want to automatically upgrade it, you may want to keep one thing in mind that the upgrade will happen only when the device will try to update its identity. So it went ahead and updated its identity at around 9:07 p.m. and it has upgraded itself automatically. You could also see that the client management upgrade now has the required upgrade operational rules under it. So in case you plan to upgrade the devices manually, you could assign the devices or the device groups here. For Windows, for Linux is different, and for Mac OS. Also with the upgrade, you will see that the client management upgrade folder has been pre-populated with the latest operational rule. So in case you plan to go ahead with an upgrade where you would want to upgrade the devices manually later on when you have the network availability, you could click on the Windows 64.cst operational rule and assign the device group for Windows devices. And for Mac and Linux, there are different operational rules. This validates that the upgrade process was successful. If your environment is hosted in BMC Cloud, there is no need to perform any of the mentioned tasks. Enjoy a hassle-free experience with 24 by 7 support provided by BMC. We offer both fresh installation and timely upgrades. However, you will need to start fresh as migration from previous on-premise PCM master to a hosted BMC cloud is not possible. Simply contact your account manager and request for BMC professional services for further assistance. Let us now discuss about certain troubleshooting scenarios that you may come across while installing and upgrading BCM Master within your environment. First one being where the BCM service fails to start on a Linux box due to a missing shared library named libnsl.so.1. We have seen this issue on Red Hat and CentOS 8, 8.3 and later versions. The issue could be resolved by running the command yum install libnsl.x86_64 as it automatically downloads the set RPM from its repository and installs it. And later you could restart the BCM master service and validate if the issue is resolved. Next is where the upgrade installer fails to stop the service performing the upgrade. The cause of this issue is when a different name is given to the BCM master service. You could resolve this issue by renaming the BCM master service back to its default name and then rerun the upgrade installer. Another troubleshooting scenario will be where you're unable to access the web console post-upgrade as it fails with a wrong checksum error. This issue could be resolved by replacing the web start folder found at the highlighted path with the web start folder from the upgrade package. And the location of the upgrade web start package is as follows. You will then be able to launch the web console and log into it as well. We've also received complaints where the customers are unable to find setup installer for the version 21.02 or older versions on our EPT website. As BMC Client Management now serves as a source for the software catalog knowledge base, setup installer for version 22.4.30 and update installer for versions starting from 12.9 until 22.4.03 is made available for download on our EPT website. Therefore, we would request you to contact our customer support team to get set up older than 22.4.30. Let's take a moment to summarize what we've learned today. We began by providing an overview of the BMC Client Management product, followed by examining the system requirements necessary to perform a fresh install of the BCM master. We also conducted a comprehensive demonstration of setting up an Oracle database on a Windows server and BCM Master on Linux server, and later explored the benefits of preparing the server for an upgrade. Finally, to wrap up, I shared some common troubleshooting scenarios. And these are the links to our references. Thank you for watching the webinar.